So let's talk a bit about fascia. Many people have never heard of it, but it is the main connective tissue in the body. And as such, fascia wraps around all the other structures in your body. So it wraps around your muscles, your nerves, your blood vessels, your bones and your organs, and it fills all the spaces in between. So it means that the whole of your body is one big three-dimensional network, everything being connected to everything else by those fascial connections. So when it's working normally, fascia is very fluid, as most of the water in your body is actually held in the fascia, and so it moves painlessly as we move. But what's fascia made of? So fascia is made of proteins and water. So there's two main proteins that it's made of. One is called collagen, which you may have heard of, and that is a protein that gives strength and structure to the body. And then the other protein is called elastin, and as the name suggests, it's stretchy and it allows movement in the body. And the third element is the water. So within fascia, water is important as a way of keeping the tissues fluid and mobile, but it's also a communication network within the body that works even quicker than the nervous system. So from a fascial perspective, there's lots of things about anatomy that you can turn on its head. So for example, in traditional anatomy, it's said that the skeleton in your body provides the structure and everything else hangs off this. But from a fascial perspective, it's the fascia that gives the structure in the body. If you were to take out all of the fascia from your body, then your skeleton would be nothing more than a pile of bones on the floor. And conversely, if you were to take everything else out of your body and just leave the fascia, you would be left with the perfect three-dimensional representation of yourself right down to your facial expression. So fascia is that important in your body. Now fascia has two main properties which are important to know about. These are called tensegrity and thixotropy. So we're going to look at tensegrity first. So I have here a tensegrity model. So tensegrity is a concept that comes from architecture, and it allows architects to build buildings and bridges that can self-support and that can move. So if you think about bridges that hold themselves up, or even tall buildings that can sway in the wind without falling down. So that's tensegrity. So this is a tensegrity model, and you can see that as I move it, it stays in perfect balance, even though the shape changes. And so in the body, if you imagine that these wooden struts here are your bones and the elastic bits are the fascia, it's the fascia movement that allows the bones to move, but it allows everything to stay in perfect balance. And that's important because from a fascial point of view, the body can stay balanced without any effort. And it's only when restrictions and problems start to form that your body has to work harder, and that's what can start to cause some of the pain that people experience. Another property that fascia has is called thixotropy. So this is a tub of corn flour and water, and it's a very good way of demonstrating what thixotropy really means. So if I tap this hard, the corn flour and water is really solid. And so that's the equivalent of you having an injury or an accident where your fascia starts to solidify and become stuck. However, if I rest my fingers on the corn flour and water, they will start to sink in. And that's how myofascial release helps to release the restrictions that can form in your fascia. So when you're working to do your exercises and stretches from this program, you'll find that you get that sense of release and softening as your fascia starts to let go. So when you're doing the exercises and stretches in this program, it's useful to remember these properties of tensegrity and thixotropy because you'll start to feel them in action as the releases happen in your body. And as long as you're doing the exercises regularly, say for at least 15 minutes a day, you'll soon start to feel the benefits and stay living pain-free.